looking for, but we'll try it. What we're going to try to do is get out, put it in there, and drive it down right here. Ideally, we'll do that on all four sides. But I probably want to get one at a time there. It's getting hot. Hopefully you can see what we're trying to accomplish there. Do that on each of the four sides, and then maybe get a little broader punch and make it a little bigger. And when we ping this over, hopefully that might make this nut a lot more stationary. And I didn't get it even on both sides. I don't do perfect folks. You know what that? Go see the machine shop.
There you go.
Okay, little boxes that I got inside, I used staple gun and one other thing. One of those little stands had some staples in it, left it away. So just 3/4 inch square bar with the groove in it.
What's in it?
Just a groove. I think I put 2 bars together and drilled a hole, probably about 1/8 inch, maybe a little bigger, and you can make out what it is.
Okay.
And I found the center of it. Okay. This is old hat. Just a piece of flat plate with a 3/8 inch square welded on each end. So half of that bar ought to be 3/8 of an inch. So put that on there and mark it. Right in the middle of that is the center of the bar. Now you can make up whole bunch of these, all different widths of material. So, this one's 5/8. Here's 1 3/4.
Quick way to find the center of a bar.
Yeah. And the work I do, that's close enough.
And it looks to be consistent also.
Yeah. And while we're talking about that, I made some other things. You can buy these at woodworking stores and a lot of different places. Or you can use a combination. Set it to whatever you need it to. But I thought this was kind of neat. That's a pretty good ruler here. Something made in the U.S. But you just slide that to have her what dimension you use. What I do lots of times, I mark the dimension I want and then set this to it. So your line comes where it's supposed to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you just tighten that up. There's, I had some drawings on how to do these wing nuts. I don't know where they are right now, some instructions. But I like these kind of wing nuts. The ones they draw each end out and roll it up in a curl. Well, that was, what, 200 years ago? Which there's nothing wrong with it, but, you know, can't you forge stuff and make it look, I don't know, I don't want to say industrial. Well, it may look industrial, but have some sort of style to it, or I like arts and crafts stuff, so that's what.
Yeah, it's very craftsman style.
That's I base a lot of stuff I've built on that. So, and there's probably another one here. I think I wound up giving a bunch of them away. There's a little smaller one. It doesn't work as well. There's some of that tape on the inside here that's, what they call it, HWMB. It's cut down on friction.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's what's inside that cylinder, or there's pieces of that inside here to allow your head to go up and down.
Okay.
And generally we use this like 50 every once in a while, put on there. But the thing, you could use bronze in there, but I think this plastic stuff's probably a lot cheaper than buying sheets of bronze. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let's make this is 1/8 inch stick welding rod. Knock the flux off of it. Over at the shop, people were always coming by and bringing us stuff. So they'd come by with a whole bucket full of welding rod.
Oh, really?
And of course it got wet or something. It's and I found the easiest way to knock that flux off. There's no way of doing it except making a big mess, but I'm gonna do it on the floor here. If you do it on the anvil, it falls off down everywhere. If you do it under the hammer, you can put a kiss block under there and make short work of it. But why not do this? This stuff comes off pretty easy. Some of it's a lot harder to get off. Okay, we just get the dustpan and broom, clean that up. We ain't got it scattered all over everywhere, except what I'm doing right here. And these need to be run through the wire brush. And put your dust mask on. No telling what that stuff is that's flying off of there. So, and then generally I take these and fire propane and run them through the needle a little bit. So that helps. Like these 1/8 inch ones, you can bend them cold. If you get a lot bigger than that, you're probably going to have to heat them up. So you're going to have to figure out how wide a staple you want, okay, how much material it's going through, and how much you're going to need to bend them over. And I've got one box in there. I keep telling people to don't do this. Well, I did it anyway, so I shouldn't be giving orders here. But so when the staples come through on the inside, you want them to come through like this. They don't have to touch, but you don't want that, or one up, down. You don't have to do that, but all our work's going to be expensive. And they look at the price. A lot of people go look it over very carefully. So, and the other thing I bring up, it's your work. It's got your name on it. So, however you want to handle that. So anyway, I had some notes there somewhere on that particular box I was building out of channel iron, how big these staples need to be. But where it's at right now, I don't have any idea. But I came up with 2.5 inches, so I marked the middle of that. And we're going to take a pair of vice grips. I think these work. Nope. This ain't going to hold it.
Are they on the vice grip rack?
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought I left them out, so this would be
ready, yeah.
Go smoother.
Ready these?
Well, these work, but they're a little wide.
Oh, too wide for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's the same tool. It's just for a longer staple.
Oh, sure.
Because I use this to hold the lid on these boxes, a nice long staple. And the part that comes inside your lid sets on. That was something that I finally did that was simple. I have to learn things the hard way lots of times. Well, this irritates me. I made these for something, but I don't think they're going to hold this. Maybe they will. Yeah. Okay. So we got this in the center of here, center of here. We're just going to take a hammer and bend those over. And hopefully they're about the same length. Uh-oh, they're a little longer. It's a wee bit. So I've got a measurement off somewhere. Another thing I want to point out is you want to round these edges off. Either do it before you make them or after you get them this way. Because you don't want somebody sticking their hand down in there and you got a sharp part sticking out and they cut themselves. That's not good. But you wouldn't have to do this if you had a jig made up to do collars. You could probably use it. And I don't know, I just started doing them this way and I did a lot of them. And you can do all different sizes, so we can look at some of that. And, oh, a couple things I want to show you while we're here. This is another hacksaw made. And really all I wanted to point out is here on the, where you bent this 90 degrees, can you see it's been mushed? Mm-hmm. So theoretically that should make that joint or that bend stronger. Okay, you're creating more surface here. I mean, on this hacksaw frame it wouldn't have been necessary at all, but I seen that somewhere and I thought, well, I'll do that. There's another junior hacksaw. I guess that's what they call them. But I made regular ones this same, pretty much same design. And this piece started out, I think, as a piece of 3/8 by 1. Okay. And you split it and then open it up, and that's what you make all of this part out of. You're going to have excess material there depending on how much you forge all this down. And everything's, I'd say, just gives you more basic forge work, however you want to decorate it. I can't get into decorations a whole lot. The tool needs to work for what it was designed for. That always don't happen. The only thing I got boxes full of nuts I do at a time. There's one, just that's not very decorative. Something similar there. That's just a square head, pinged over, so it's kind of nice. There's one got more to it. So whatever you come up with. In fact, that was probably forged a little bit browned and then dealt with. So you make all your own tools, punches and stuff for that. Okay, I think that's about it in here.
So Mo, what
Yes.
is your blacksmith story? How did you get into blacksmithing?
Well, I grew up on the farm in western Oklahoma, and in the summer we'd take the plowshares to the blacksmith shop to get them sharpened. And I thought it was a huge place. And I said, boy, there's something going on in here. And I gathered a few parts, some tongs, and I think I had an old coal forge, but I never did do anything with it. So in 1977, I moved out here to Phoenix, and I was out at Pioneer Village one day, and they had a blacksmith working there at the village. So he told me about the Arizona Artists Blacksmith Association, and showed me one of their newsletters. So I joined that and never did hear anything from them. So I finally got a newsletter, and they were having a meeting in Flagstaff. It was outside of town. So it was a Saturday and Sunday meeting. So I went to that, and a couple times while I was there, I says, what am I getting myself into here? There's some stories I probably shouldn't tell them, but I was pretty naive about a lot of things. Probably still am. But anyway, started gathering tools. Phoenix Forge, Callaway, and his partner had beginner's blacksmith course, and I think it was like either 2 or 3 weekends, and you just learned basic steps, and you made some tools. So I think that was in probably 1984. So I've been a member of the ABA since then. Went to a lot of conferences, a lot of demos. I've been very fortunate. People I've worked around for and with, not even blacksmiths, but other people in the crafts, like woodworkers, people that do glass, ceramics people. I mean, after all, what we're doing is taking material and manipulate it to build something else. So we all have something in common here. So that's the way I look at it. But that, and I got laid off from Honeywell in 1991, and wasn't a good time to be looking for a job. So I worked probably 6 or 8 months, maybe a year for other blacksmiths, and kind of got involved. This evolved in getting my own shop. So I've always rented space from some other blacksmiths to do where I had my shop. And so what, from about 92 to 2015, I was a full-time blacksmith. And 2015, I moved out of my shop, moved a lot of my equipment here at home, sold a lot of it. Now I'm trying to get rid of more, and it's not going well. Let's look at the bottom one first, can we?
Yep.
Get down there. Okay, there's a pin coming up here, and this is a piece of pipe or DOM that fits over this pin. So you put a little grease on that pin, put a ball on it, steel ball, and that's what pivots from the bottom. And we got a grease zerk here on the back. On the old gates where they had the heel, there was a pin on the heel that went into a socket in the floor. But I always wondered about that. Water's going to stand in that hole. So I don't know how many years that would last. If you had a big pin, that'd be around. It's going to last a long time. But that's why I put the pin on the bottom and then the tube over it. And the other thing is, if you need to raise this up a little bit, you can get washers that are the same size as that pin and drop them in there and raise it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And you can get some real thin ones if you want to mic it up.
So there's the pin, then there's a ball bearing.
Yep.
And then the pipe over that.
Right, correct.
With some size diameter.
Okay. The old gates, that's the way they were made. You had a pin on one side, and then they closed. And you hardly ever see anybody doing that anymore. If they're doing it, it's going to be a custom job for somebody. And you're talking very expensive there. This is done the same way, except there's no ball bearing in there. And I got a grease circle on the outside. That's probably didn't really need it all that bad, because these don't get open very often. And this is just tube steel welded together. I didn't make a whole lot of, I made a few gates similar to this, but not very many. I don't really like doing it. And the guys that do that, they got all their jigs, and I mean they can knock one out 2-3 times faster than I can. So and here's one of the little flowers that was made on a off thread. So it's pointed on the end, and I just drove it into this wood here. So we can look at some more of those that are a little nicer. I don't know whether you'd see much more from the backside or not.
Can't tell what I'm looking at because the sun's on it.
Oh. Okay. Got this bar used on one side here. Generally, you only need it open on one side to get in. But if you're moving something in and out, you want to close that. And simple way to adjust this. Then you don't have to make the piece all in one piece the right size. Have something you can tweak on. And this slide bolt, I'll show you a couple things here. This is the old way of making them. I think they're welded in the back here. But this is a bolt, so you can take that out if you need to pull the whole bar out. We just took a quarter inch bolt towards the head square, and I think this is what half by 1, I'm not sure. It's pretty hefty. I shouldn't say that, it's got a lot stronger. And I screwed up here. I didn't make my catch long enough. So that needs to be fixed. And it's almost level again, but it changes. And I blame that on the wood. I don't know. Of course, old people always got things to blame things on. But hang on just a second.
Got a little friend on this.
she's kind of tame.
Is she? Seems curious. Okay.
All right. This is a shop-made vertical vise, and I had all these parts. So flat piece on the bottom, piece of channel iron. And there's a couple pieces of aluminum. You don't necessarily have to have that. But again, here's 5/8 all thread, washers off of your spare parts, smaller grinders. Same thing here under the bottom. Socket, another grinder article. Square nuts drilled out, so I think this is a piece of 1-inch diameter. May not, it may just be cold roll, I don't know, hot roll. But you could really make a nice one if you did some machine work and all that, but this is my version. And what I use for here is a cheap variable speed drill. So we can get it in there, hopefully without damaging it. Could put it in a regular vise, and this piece of tubing, 1/4 inch, and I cut a slot in it and formed it to where, what do you call these 3M pads?
Scotch-Brite pads?
Scotch-Brite pads. What comes in a 9x6 sheet, a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I could get 3-inch sheets in here. But I finally got it in my head I don't really need them that wide, so I made a couple more of these around somewhere. These strips are only about 1 inch wide. And I think they're 3 inches long. I don't know, it's don't make a whole lot of difference. But what it's good for, what I use it for, is to shine things up. Here's some copper that we can do real quick, something on. You want to be careful, keep in mind which way this is turning. Quick work on that copper. And there's different grades of this stuff? Abrasives?
Yeah, based on the color.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which grid is which color.
I think the gray's a little finer, and then it looks more squishy. The other thing I use these for, she got a bracelet. Oh, here's a copper bracelet. And you need to clean the inside of it out. You can put it in the vise. You gotta watch so you don't distort something here. It needs to be tight. Oh, I'm not gonna do it. Here's where you really need to be aware where your turning's going.
Shines it up very nicely.
Yeah. But the other thing I use to get these pads or wheels, Ace Hardware sells them.
Hmm.
And they're some kind of fiber, but there's 3 different grades. And I think this is the finest. I'd have to look. They're different colors. But again, person needs to be wearing some kind of mask. So where's all this stuff go when it gets small?
Out at you.
So here you're breathing all this stuff, and if you've been doing this 20 or 30 years, or 10 even, you didn't wear any kind of respirator, you probably got a whole bunch of stuff in your body that's not good for you, especially your respiratory system, maybe. But I don't know. But let me see what I can stick on there. Well, and if you're using these for stainless steel, don't use them for anything else. Lots of times they'll have marked on here, stainless or whatever. So even if you're wire brushing something, get a stainless steel brush if you're going to be working stainless steel. If you use a steel brush and you brush on some stainless, you're probably going to get some steel on that brake. I don't know if you could say that's a big thing or not, but it's something to keep in mind. Here. Let's just see what this does. And you can also turn this the other way. What happens, this chuck's probably not all that good to begin with, but it'll come loose. You want to use these things more for polishing something than just taking rust off. Steel wire wheel would work a lot better. But we could do something here real quick. This copper's so easy to clean up. You don't need to do this. I got it stuck in there a little far. Okay, those balls we were making, there's one right there.
Oh yeah.
One on the other
handle.
end. I'm pretty sure these are pipe. Well, it's a ball and then it was squashed a little bit. And put a tenon on this bar.
Very cool.
Yeah. Let's hit this a little bit.
Okay.
I moved it back because my switch here I couldn't get at.
Let me get a shot of that.
I'm sorry?
That cleaned it up quite a bit, shined it up.
Yeah.
Polished it.
Yeah. I use this on quite often. That's a pretty slack, limber brush. And there's, and there's these silly things. And I got to show you my shaving can. People probably think I'm silly and crazy. All right, got an empty
Tricks of the blacksmith.
shaving can. Okay, the top comes out and all that. So drill a bunch of holes all the way around it, and take a piece of pair's tin snips and cut that out and cut all around there, and you got all these sharp points coming out from where you drilled a hole. So you put one of these stones in here and grind all that out in the inside. And not try to distort your can. So now the thought behind this is, if I got this sitting up on the shelf and burglars come in and they see that, well, I don't think there's anything in there. So maybe you could hide your treasures in here and get away with it. I don't know. That's kind of silly. But the other thing you could do with these, and I sent some stuff back to Oklahoma for their Arn in the Hat. And I had one of these cans, and I had a little knife I made, kind of a little neck knife, and some of those miniature tools. And I put them in here, and a bunch of bolts and nuts and some rivets, and taped it shut. Put it in our hat and put a big note on it here, stay out. If you want to know what's in there, buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it turned out, but that guy got a good deal, or a girl who bought it. They just bought one ticket. They got a nice price. And we can look at this knife thing holder. I've seen this on YouTube. Let me get rid of that. You stick your knife in here, work your blade or your handle or whatever you're doing, and you can make all kinds of these things to do different things. I mean, you could, anytime you was working on something you needed to turn it a lot to file or whatever, this thing may be pretty handy. I mean, there's something made. And
what's the inside of those again?
it's just,
Oh,
I had something,
hold the tang, or?
yeah, I had something round I needed to hold or something. But, knife vice jaws. What I was going to say, a lot of them you see are made out of round material, but the guy that video I was watching, this is 2-inch square tubing, thin wall. Let me take all this out. And drill a hole through there and then taper it off.
Very simple design.
Yeah. And if you're doing this, set this thing up on the vertical and weld it. Now this sounds dumb probably, but if you got this thing vertical, it's a lot easier to turn it or open it than it is flat. So if you got bad hands, that makes a difference. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I say, it doesn't mount to really much, but and you're gonna have to hopefully that should do it. Now you need something to so you don't damage wood. And you just loosen this and turn it to where you want it. if you're building one, I was lazy and I had this little chunk of all thread laying around. I'd use that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it would operate a lot smoother if you had a piece of round in there. So that's
Sure.
just.
Okay.
But maybe you need something in there. You only need to crank it 45 degrees. There you go. So,
Sure. So what is this one for?
Well, that's the first one I did, and of course you don't get enough leverage here.
At the,
So instead of grinding it off, leave it on there, just put another one on. Hey, you might not use that for something. I don't know.
you never know. Yeah.
Let's take this thing out. God, it's in the way. This whole buggy here is full of jewelry stuff, knife stuff, paracord. I don't, like I say, the knives I make are pretty crude. So lots of times I'll just use paracord for the handle. And something else I found, talk about repurposing. So you replace all the curtains in your house. And you got the type of curtains you use a drawstring to put them open post. Well, there's a lot of string there.
Sure is.
And I've seen this somewhere. If you want to color this, you mix up some Jello.
Jello.
Yeah.
Oh.
And soak it in there. And if you can get some.
Pick your favorite flavor or color.
Yeah. And I tried it once, and I didn't like something about it, so I never have tried it again. But lots of times I use this on a handle or some, what do you call it, twine. I'll go over it with a couple of coats of shellac. I mean, that's real easy to use. All you need is alcohol to thin it down. But it's a good way to lose a lot of things, having this sort of thing. You can't find it. And, I'm going to cover on this fly press is this block. I think the guy that sells these out of California, I think I've seen him using one of these. But you got your fly press all set up where you want it. And you got this set up. Okay. That's where I want it before I stick my piece under there, especially if you're doing hot stuff. So I open it up a little bit, this falls out, and I'm ready to do whatever I wanted to do. So if I didn't have that in there, and while you're over in your forge, this thing's winding down all the way to the bottom. You come over here, got a hot piece. You're winding this up. Why not just push it back just a tad? So you got what? 1, 2, 3, 5 dimensions there, 4 you can use. And it's a piece of aluminum, but you could make that probably out of hardwood that'll last a long time, or just a piece of pine might. So this particular fly press, you pull this pin up, and you don't have to take this handle completely off to change position. But I've only moved it a couple times. I just try to work with it where it's at. 'Cause all this is heavy. And in fact, I made a tool to pull that pin with, but I think I've only used it a couple times. Uh-oh, got a problem here. Tool's too long. Cut part of that off. Just a hammerhead. And another thing I might mention, okay, I got that aero hydraulic press out there. When you start making your tools, think about your shaft here, how we're going to attach them. Make your tools so you can use them on both machines. Not have to make the same tool for another machine.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, well, it took me a couple times screwing up to figure it out. Let's just leave that there. Okay, here I went lazy. Instead of making a nice weld on here, put a bolt or screw in there, I just welded them up.
And what is that for?
Okay, all different.
Oh,
Yeah.
hex key?
Yeah. Like this one fits here. And I don't know why I got all of them here, but and I did make wrenches for this. And this one up here. Generally I don't tighten this down, but if you're doing production work, all the same part, you probably want that tight so when you come down you're stopping in the same place. That's what's really neat about this thing is you can adjust how far you're coming down. And all kinds of tools that can go under there. And it's really good for bending arcs. You can take it easy and dial things right in most of the time. And I've got a tray. Everybody's got these. You can see all this stuff on YouTube. This sits across here and clamp it down. Okay. All you gotta do is change positions of these things to get some kind of arc or whatever you want. I saw this somewhere. And this, I don't know whether you can see it, but this table came with the machine. Let's get this out of the way. And I wanted some racks to put the tools in. And I didn't dare want to weld on this stand or drill holes in it or anything. So what I did is just a piece of flat bar and welded all these pieces of tube on there. And these little clamps came off of hangers. Where I worked out there in Honeywell, they had all the cables running from the machines run through these troughs above your head. So you had a piece of like 3/8 all thread, and you had these on the ends so they could hook everything up. And I had a whole bunch of them. Of course, they were probably pretty old, and probably that paint's got lead in it. I don't know, but I highly suspect that it does. So, and well, we can look at this drill here. Here's my L for loosen and T for tighten. So before
that
everybody
refers to the drill chuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
So before everybody laughs at me, wait till you get old and you're struggling with that tap. And you remember, well, somebody wrote a note on there. And here's another shop build anvil. I ain't see much about it. That was a chunk of material off the end of a forklift or something.
Hmm.
But I just used part of those shear blades. Power supply out of a computer. What called it, desktop, the tower or whatever.
Yeah, that looks familiar.
Yeah, well, anyway, supposedly it's got a good 12 volts and a good 5 volt. So you wire that up to your battery powered drill that you no longer can get batteries for, or they're no good. And it's not going to be as handy, but
You can run your drill.
yeah, I've got a really good Bosch there that's 13 volt, and I bought it way long time ago when they first started coming out with that stuff. Well, the batteries finally quit on me. Well, we can get you some new ones, and
But they cost as much as a new drill.
Yeah. Well, I've heard a lot of bad stories. They don't last anyway, so
Yeah.
someday, YouTube, you can find out which wires go where and whatever. They do this. Maybe I can do it without electrocuting myself. So well, let's go to show and tell.
Okay.
How's that going to work out with your light?
I'll just turn around this way. It'll be perfect.
Kidding. What about if you...
Oh, you want to put them there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just stand right here.
I don't know where to start at. I'll try to get through as much as these. These another similar leaves that we saw out on the gate using that same technique. I don't know why. I have trouble making leaves like this. I never did like them. I'm not doing something right with them. So I don't do them unless I have to. Belt link, belt, chain link, links. That makes sense. What you do, make the friction belt buckle. I made quite a few belt buckles were friction type, and you get into problems where they don't hold. But here's what you wind up doing. I think these are for 1¼ wide belts. That's for 1 wide. So if you were in your right mind, you would go get a piece of 1/4 rod or 5/16 or whatever, and just wind that around the bar and whatever welding you had to do and forge them flat. But I've got a lot of chain here, so being I'm tight, I don't want to go buy a piece of 1/4 inch. But what, I had a bunch of this webbing left over, and a lot of this stuff you can buy online real cheap. These, also this part. But, and if they get to where they slip, you can just put an extra piece inside there. But I think this one's going to hold. And you got something to push through the other so it ain't dangling down there. Might be a little more difficult to get off. And while we're on the topic of belt loops, buckles, I've got to show you my suspenders and my belt. I normally don't wear belts with suspenders, but these are my suspenders made out of 2x72 used sanding belts, grinding belts. So I don't remember what grit that was. But some of this is really, really strong. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
If you could figure out how to tie it together, you could probably pull your truck with it. But anyway.
I think somebody did with duct tape.
Anyway, this belt is off by one of these cheap belt jiggers, whatever you call them. Okay, there's a 1 by 42 inch belt. That's real fine grit. And I don't know what you call these things, but you can adjust it in different. But what's neat about it is it's quick release. So when you get old, you may need that. That's just a thought.
I suppose you don't want too coarse a grit, or it might wear a hole in your pants.
Well, yeah. Well, the other thing, they need to be pretty limber.
Good worn belt.
Yeah. Well, this one here is it's 120, and I mean that's stout. But when you put all this together here, you could probably heat that up and do something with it. But there again, we're heating up an adhesive.
You don't know what's in there.
I glued couple small pieces together with some super glue once, and I glued them up because I wanted to hit them with MIG welder. Well, there was some. Fortunately, I was in my shop over at Pete's, so it's all open. But there was some odors come out of there that are really serious.
You had some kind of a chemical reaction there, huh?
Yeah, you don't do that.
Ooh.
Anyway, if I go to something like this will work. Store-bought belt. Or buckle. This is what you used to get in the military. I don't know what they do now. They're all probably that tactical looking stuff.
Yeah.
So this is 40 grit. It's kind of hard to slide through your pants.
I imagine. Yeah.
But put it this way, well, you don't want to do that because it's liable to scratch up your leather seats in your Mercedes or whatever you're driving.
Oh yeah.
So,
I didn't think of that.
Don't do that. But it's thick enough to where this thing will catch. And these belts, they were shelf life running out on them. And a guy down in Tucson gave them to me. But they got a lot of sanding material there, belts you can use.
Yeah.
Cut it off.
Hand sanding.
Yeah. That shear works good for cutting those belts. So,
Oh, I bet.
okay. Here's flowers that I made during that method we was using with the oil thread. Okay. This one has been welded on a little bit from the back. I kind of like this one. It's been welded on all through. I don't like this square flower looking, but the leaf turned out nice. So I don't want to take it off and put it someplace else. It just has to be this way. Okay, more balls. All right, you make these wheels. Here's one that's a little different again. And
Oh, let's see those again. Can you capture those?
There's a nice little one.
So how did you make these?
Okay, it's one of these. Okay, cut these off smooth and use that pair of pliers in there, or pair of channel locks. Heat it up, stick it under your hammer, boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
yeah, and lots of times these aren't going to come out symmetrical, so you'll just have to deal with it. You're going to have some scrap. But, well, and the other thing, you got a hole in there already. So you're not trying to fool around and find all that stuff. I got a piece of pipe here. I think, no, I make some bigger ones of this. Let me go see if I can find a piece real quick.
Okay.
Diameter of that pipe, it's not 2 inches. But you can make that, as long as you can make that jig go under there, you probably get some a lot bigger ones too. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I'd have trouble. Well, you always use a propane forge to heat them up. But what I did do is I made this abacus, and it was about probably that long, about that wide, and then I attached the legs to it, so it was kind of it was an abacus laying down horizontal, and I suppose you could have probably put a piece of glass on it or something, but I just left it like that. But anyway, if I remember right, this is the size of sliders I used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice and big.
Yeah. And I think I needed 27 or 30 of them. So I made the balls, smashed them, and try to keep everything uniform as possible. And, that takes care of that. Here's those punch outs. Different sizes. And the neat things about the round ones, lots of times they got that center punch in the back of them.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's what you made the bugs from?
yeah, just different sizes.
Sizes?
Yeah. I don't put legs on them. They ain't gonna get legs. Somebody else will do that. And where's that piece of? I don't know. Maybe I'll find it. Well, we could talk about this bug. Let's talk about this first. Okay, these are little locks. They really don't block anything. But, all right, that was probably a number 10. It might have been a 1024, I don't know. That was what we were doing out there with that all thread and the nuts. Except this is just smaller. So you loosen those, open up, and get your rod off.
Okay.
And years ago I made some out of pipe. I don't know, I seen them drawn up somewhere. And anyway, the part that pin went through to hold the hasp, that was 3/8 all thread with a nut on the end of it and all that. But if you want to and spend the time and money, is get left-handed all thread. left-handed nuts and a left-handed tap. Because to unlock the lock, you had to unscrew it. So, if you have a little set screw, you got to loosen up first and then unlock, turn the all thread to get the hatch out. Well, everybody's going to be trying to loosen it like a right-hand nut or fooling with it. So, hopefully, somewhere along the line they'll figure out, oh, it's a left-hand nut. So that's,
Is there a twist on it?
this is the same deal here. One of them I made, it's probably over there. I had some kind of stop on there so you knew when to. But I think this looks a lot nicer. Well, maybe not. That piece flattened out and is round. I don't know. It's kind of, because you got round here, you got round here. This is round. It's part of your how you think about design. Which, I mean, to design something that is very simple, it's lots of times harder than design something that's got a lot of detail to it, and I don't want to call it any bad names. The guy that did the furniture out of California, I can't recall his name. He's passed away. But I really liked his work, and I tried to find out as much about him as I could. But in fact, I belonged to this group that had a conference down at ASU. This has been years ago, and he was there. There's some kind of furniture association, artist furniture. I should have talked to him, but I didn't.
Did he make metal or was that wood furniture?
No, it's wood. But his designs were simple, but he got proportions and everything just right. That, to me, you looked at him and said, that's really nice. Okay. I think a lot of people don't observe stuff very much. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but hey, we've got design all around us. Some of it's good, and some of it ain't. You know? and if a guy wants to get into it, years ago, these junior colleges used to have design courses. Well, they had a design 1 and design 2. And design 2 was more 3D, making sculpture type things. And design 1 was more just two-dimensional stuff. But I took that course out at Glendale. This may be a long story. And the instructor, it was at night. She was this little petite lady, but she was mean. I'd do something, and she'd come by and critique. Why'd you do that? Why come out there? What, you know? And I couldn't answer. Get over there, that's, I mean, right on your butt all the time, which is good, you know. And I think she lived on pale mills and coffee, and but I got a lot out of that class. And I did take the second class, and that's where you get into 3D stuff. And I had an awful hard time getting into 3D type stuff, because I don't know, I don't look at things that way, I guess. I don't know really why. Okay, while we're at that, here's some more of those balls we made. Now these are welded up. Just put a stem on them. what do you call these, pomegranates?
Oh yeah, they look like pomegranate.
So, I seen a video on a guy making these, I guess you call them a vessel with a base. I think what he's doing is taking a piece of pipe and putting a plug in the bottom, and then you did them on a hammer, power hammer, and you manipulated that top around, squished them. I made a couple of them. That's all they were doing for that. We talked about, oh, I didn't talk about those drive screws. Maybe I can go get some real quick. This teapot, non-functional, 3 of 3. This is the third one. Let me go grab some of those.
Okay.
These called drive screws, and you can get them in all sizes. But you need to burn that plating off. But if you look at them real close, you can see the very end is shallower than the screw part. So sometimes on the box I'll tell you what size to use. These are size 4, 5/16. They don't say what size drill bits to use. You just have to experiment and see what works for you.
So you just hammer those in?
Correct. You want the hole to be at least that size, and then
The inside,
correct.
the smaller diameter,
Yeah,
minor diameter.
and that's what these are here. All right. And these toolboxes I used to make. That's what's on.
Oh, that's cute.
That's one on the sides here. But let me talk about these a minute. That's probably what's that, 1 1/4 or an inch? It looks like 1 1/4. Yeah. If you're smart, you go buy some cold roll 1 1/4, about 1/4, because the sides, the edges are going to be nice and square. If you just pick a piece off the rack, those edges are probably going to be rounded a little bit. And the next piece you pick off may be a 1/16 inch wider, and you don't need that kind of grief. So you cut up all your parts off the same stick, and you know everything is going to be the same. And I made up jigs to drill all these holes in these side pieces, and I made a lot of these boxes, and I did make one that was about so big.
Oh wow!
And
Can we see what kind of tools you got in there?
yeah, these I made them with a lot of blacksmith tools.
Hacksaw.
And I had usually a ball peen hammer, straight pin hammer, cutter, flatter. Is supposed to be a.
Oh my gosh!
And I did make some with ball peen. I did make a couple sets that had like carpenter tools in them. But I sold all these in the galleries, and they really sold well.
I bet.
And the thing of it is, a lot of people buy them that, they didn't know anything about blacksmithing. But they just like the tools. Well, that's good. But I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it. But you see a little wedge in there?
Oh sure. Yes, I did. If I can refocus, I saw it briefly.
Okay, I don't know if I can. What it is when I make these handles, they're round on the end, and I split them. But the junior hacksaw blades, take a worn out one and bend it over on itself.
Oh, okay.
And cut it off, and then you put it in there and drive it in. So I hadn't got any word from anybody. Well, that wedge fell out of my tool. Well, fix it. Get you a new wedge.
Yeah.
There's a few
You
more.
got some compartments in the toolbox?
Just here in the corner. Yeah. You don't really. Your punches
Very
and
cool.
stuff's supposed to go in there, right?
Yeah.
And I only made these 2 sets of little tongs. I'm not going to do any more of this. But I decided these would take too long to make. I don't know.
Very intricate.
Yeah, Bill Gano made a really nice pair that he had it at the
Oh, did he?
banquet
Oh.
a couple of years ago. That was, I don't think that was too bad making that. So I had a gallery in San Francisco. It's a fine craft gallery. And this lady, I think it was in part of town that the gallery's downstairs and she lived upstairs. But anyway, to get in galleries, lots of times you got to send them photos. In that day it was slides, I think, and your artist statement and cost. And so they could come back and say yay or nay, whether they want to handle their stuff. So I sent her one of these packages, and she couldn't decide. She had other blacksmith work in there, and somebody else was in the gallery, one of our customers or whatever, and they really liked it, and so she bought some of my work. But anyway, I made these, I'd call them writing desks. They were only tables about 36 inches wide, long, maybe 24 deep, and usually I had a drawer in them. And I think I sent her one. The thing with those big pieces, the time you ship them and everything, you got a lot of money in them. And anyway, I think she's seen some pictures. So she calls me up today, I'm having a furniture show and I want you to make a piece for her. And I said, okay. And she goes to tell me this better be functional. She says, if I have a teapot show, those teapots better work. Well, I didn't dare send her a teapot like this. Well, one other thing I was going to point out, this just 2 pieces of channel iron, and they're welded to these things. And part of this I can't remember how I did it. And I like to make this hidey place under there, so you could put your valuables in there. But it's definitely not a functional teapot. And then when you're talking about design, this thing will fit either way, but just looking at it, I think it looks better. Okay.
Yeah, it's in line.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if it's like this,
Yeah, it breaks up the line.
yeah. You want something that's easy on your eye.
Yeah, your eye can follow.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
What's the easiest on your eye? A circle or oval, probably. Maybe a rectangle comes up next. Square's going to be glare out there or whatever. But I made a lot of little tables. The tops were 7 by 10, about 30 inches tall. But that's part of the golden rectangle.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, and okay, the top's only 7 by 10, so there's a lot of places it can go in a house. And these things were real simple. Got back to who we were talking about at noon, the Amish and the stuff they did.
Uh-huh.
In fact, there's that village in Kentucky that's, we were the other group, where the men were on side and women were on the other. I can't think of it. But that was their settlement.
Hmm.
But everything they did was simple, but it was nice. So, I don't know how else to explain this. And bracelets, okay. Okay, this is one that we made that material out there we smashed flat. And
It's a very nice pattern.
yeah. And the thing is, you're gonna lose some of these outer edges. You gotta take them off. And all this needs to be smoothed up. And because you don't want pieces falling out of it. And fortunately enough, we've got enough here we can shine that up so it's not going to scratch you. But there's just a lot of work to it. So what else can you say? This is a piece of that perforated stainless steel. Okay, and take your stainless steel stick welding rod and mush, 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 mush. Okay, and you get something like that on. In fact, can't find it now. Yeah, here it is. Titanium. That's just arc weld on a piece of stainless steel. And then this is added on. I don't like doing them this way, but yeah, it's just a pendant type. Stainless steel heart.
With the collar.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to do anymore. I'm not doing anymore for these. Because I can't remember how I did all that stuff. This is, okay, the rod you get for TIG welding.
Oh.
Okay, stainless steel.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think maybe this was 1/8 inch. I don't know. I can't remember. And what I did is get stainless steel chain with stainless steel connectors, and then your whole piece is stainless steel. And you get those same cloths you use to polish your silver to polish your stainless.
Oh,
And
okay.
you don't have to, I don't know, unless you're out in the environment, you're not going to have to polish it very often.
Shouldn't.
And it shouldn't rust. Talk about hearts. Three cowboy hats. Talk about some work. These aren't too bad to make. Just a big washer, and then forged down the end of a that's about 1 inch and maybe 1 1/4 inch round bar, and then lob it off. But this one, the bottom unscrews, so you could hide your gold nuggets under there. Okay, and then I use some drive screws here.
Okay.
Lots of times I just weld around there. It's kind of funny. Some people really like these, and I never did really find a market for them. And, you know, I made some smaller ones, and I thought somebody doing some nice cabinet work could make a nice pool for a drill.
Drawer pull? Yeah, that'd be great for drawer pull. With rustic design.
Okay, and being as I like being punished, this one swings open.
Oh, wow.
You can just spend a lot of time here.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I made a couple like this, and I can't make any money on it all. I like the little feathers, and I did those lots of times under the treadle hammer. Of course, I could see a lot better, and you're using your foot to operate the handle, so you use both hands to do stuff with. More bracelets. That one's made out of tubing where you smash it and fold it. So there's a bunch of stuff on online about how to do that. And that's a piece of round, just used one of those dies to make it half round. Now I think this is a piece of stainless. Okay. It's not going to be too bad getting the rest of this oxide off. I got some chemicals I can use. But, in a way, I just may leave it this color. I don't know.
It's a nice color.
Yeah. Or even heat it up, maybe blacken it a little more.
Sure.
Everything don't have to be shiny.
Nope.
Here's another bracelet, mild steel. Put a glob of stainless steel weld on there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, then before we get to something else, okay, this is a piece of 1/4 inch. I just stamped that cross into it. Well, what I wanted to point out is, instead of just drilling a hole in there to put in a jump ring, why not make your holder part of this?
Yeah, forge it right in.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and of course, there's extra time there.
Sure.
But you know how to do this, okay? And jewelers and all of them, well, I didn't know I could forge that in there or whatever. But you got the skills, the tools, and know how to do it. And like I say, it's going to spend some extra time. That's why this one thing we were looking at. I could have done something with this. I could did some forge work on here and made this loop instead of having to weld that up and all that. But this was a lot quicker. I don't know. I don't have any excuse for it. One fella told me it's not cheating, it's I'll think of it. And all these are made out of those little cylinders they use in a coffee shop to make whipped cream. I made a lot of different ones. But there's kind of a procedure you got to do to go knock out that rubber piece in there. And the latest one I did, I used helicoils, because you don't have much material here to if you want to tap that.
Oh, yeah.
So I had something figured out where I could do it with the helicoil, and it just made it a lot nicer. So I had those girls up there at the coffee shop collect those for a while.
Oh.
I got a half a gallon of them over there, because,
Oh,
gosh, I bet they go through, I know I've seen them redo those shakers twice a day. And there's like 5 or 6 of those shakers, they make that cream.
Huh.
So they use a lot of it. I like these things. And if I remember right, I made them out of tubing. But I call this a coin purse. There's some money in there. But this needs a little work on it. It rusted and...
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I got it open a while ago.
Huh.
I put one of these in the auction at Salt Lake City, Havana.
Uh-huh.
And the lady up auctioneer, and she opened it up and says, "Well, you got 45 cents here to start out with."
Oh my gosh. Maybe $45.
I don't know what it brought. I can't remember. But I had one of these over. I got a gallery over in Scottsdale, Art One, and I had one of these in there, and I had some change in it, and somebody shoplifted it. But I don't know whether they took it because of the container. They probably just wanted to Lots of things I don't know. Well, good. Okay, how we use staples. I made a lot of these boxes.
Got a channel?
Yeah. This is the one I usually take for us demonstrating. I did have the bottom to it. Okay, can you tilt it up a little bit? Well, that helps you.
Yeah, you can see that. Interesting.
Yeah. So, these looked really nice. This piece of angle iron flat, but if you just took a, say like a 3/4 by 1/8 inch flat bar and made a nice little pattern, trim the corners off real nice. I think it looked a lot better than this flat angle iron. But, so, okay, if you put a plate here on the outside, you can weld this on this side, and your plate covers your weld.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I think I welded them all up on the inside, so you can see in there where it's welded.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And I did get these in there the right way.
Yeah. Just as you talked about.
And I did the bottoms the hard way too. I just had a piece of plate, drew around it, and then cut it out, and then start getting it to fit in here. So if it was too wide, you can always upset that edge a little bit. And if it ain't long enough, you can draw out that edge a little bit until you get things to fit.
Yeah.
Which sometimes it goes really nice and sometimes it don't. So it sits in there flush with the bottom, and then grind a bevel on the corners of the plate and weld it.
Oh,
And
okay.
you could weld the plate on this whole round here. If you got employees that are good welders and grinders, that might be the way to go. But the other thing is, all these pieces were heated up and forged, and you get this nice texture.
Mm-hmm.
So if you weld a plate here on the bottom, you grind that all off, and well, we'll go ahead and heat that up so we get that. You're going to be able to see that. And
Sure.
then you got to paint it. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I don't like everything painted. Good grief. That powder coated. Now all this stuff, it's got to go inside because it ain't going to stand up. Well, okay, here's some more uses of staples. I made these years ago, but there's just too much work in them. But you got the shaker thing going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and what is it? I guess it's 1/8 inch stuff. And just draw out the ends so you can wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
let's see, before I got staples, I'd make this whole thing in here to set the lid on. And then if you want it to really look nice and fit nice, you've got work to do on that lid.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing on the bottom. So I can't get the money out of these that make them worthwhile.
Mm.
Here's the one I didn't do right.
A big one.
Now that my staples are hosed up. Same shaker type design or whatever.
Got the forged knob.
Yeah, got a staple in the pull,
Hmm.
and that one turned out nice. But at the point I was there, I says, I'm not going to take them out and redo them. So that's the way they're going to stay. And again, you're building boxes, put the bottom one last, and you paint yourself in a corner sometime.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And this one, I went to extra trouble to put these gussets or whatever you want to call them is to get all this to fit. It was driving me crazy. I don't know why I got those two marks in there. Well, I made this in '98. I usually don't put years on the dates. A lot of time I just sign things like that.
How did you get that texture on the surface?
Okay, this is probably cold roll.
Okay.
And put it. It's called. I think you call it fire scale.
Oh, so that's just the fire scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And cold roll or tubing, square tubing, round tubing. That generally scales up really nice.
Okay.
Cause it's going to be a little softer and it's got more finish to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And people really like it. So I like the way it looks. And,
Yeah, it's a nice piece.
and for a while I was using that wax and some beeswax and turpentine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But now, well, for a long time, using this stuff called satin shield, and it's wax-based, water-based, and in fact, I still got some of it. It goes quite a ways. But the thing is, it comes out of birchwood Casey, and you got to buy a 5-gallon container.
Ooh.
And you mix it. You can mix it 50% with water. But 5-gallon container lasts me. I had one last probably 6, 8, 10 years. So I got some more in there. The thing is, I don't know whether it's got a shelf life. There may be a problem.
Oh.
There, well, I think I showed that over.
Okay.
I can show you this. This little sculpture. And I think
nice.
I think this material is what the electricians use when they pull wire through conduit.
Fish tape?
I call it fish line.
Yeah, fish tape.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think that's what it is.
Oh.
And it can be hard.
Yeah, that's some tough stuff.
Yeah, and I think I'm sure I needled it before I drilled these holes. And what? These are real small brads. You can get those in stainless steel. Like finished nails, they're just, all different sizes. And, physically, a lot of this stuff I just can't do now.
I really like that design on the top.
Well, thank you. I got another one in there that's a little different. But I was going to show something here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. But that little scroll thing right there on the end, I don't know if I can lay it down, that helps you any or not.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I can hear it shaking. I don't know how I got it that way.
There, I found it.
I could never do that again.
Some really fine scrolling pliers?
I had some little ones, but I don't remember making that. But I did a pretty nice job on that.
Yeah, it looks great.
There's probably a reason I didn't do anymore. I got to show you my airplane and a bug or two here, some fishes. This is the last airplane I made, and this body is all one piece. I made quite a few airplanes. So you got some nice top tools and a nice air hammer or a nice mechanical hammer, you can really do a lot of things. Because you got to just think.
Move some metal.
Yeah, you got a chunk of material there that you got a lot of mass that can go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm not all that good at it, but seeing here I got lazy. Instead of making that whole tail section, I ain't gonna do that. I like this. And I did have. We had a show out at, I belong to Arizona Designer Craftsman. I don't belong anymore. But they used to have shows. And that museum out in Johnson City, nice museum. So I had one of my airplanes out there. This only got so big. It was made a lot different this. But somebody stole it.
Oh, gosh.
You got a bunch of old people going to museums stealing stuff. I don't know. But anyway, they had insurance and they paid for it. Well, they said they had insurance. I don't know if they did or not, but then I got paid for it. But here, I did this little, like speakeasy door. And it was for a designer, and she wanted a moth on one side of it, so I made a couple of 3 of these. But the reason, and this little bug screws into this screw. Well, I'll have to get that off. So that's just a screw, but okay, what if you had a railing and you drilled a hole in it, mounted this moth on one side, and screwed this little bug on the other side, and you got critters on your railing.
Yeah, decorations.
And that's about as far as I got with making animated objects. I made too many scrap pieces to do it. Okay. Here's some more tools. Well, they're about the same as everything we got out. This was for the woodworking toolbox.
Oh, level.
Yeah.
Oops.
I could have probably sold a lot of them too, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into making all those. Here's some chisels. I never did put those in anything.
Ah.
And they're made out of Allen wrenches.
Oh, really?
So
That's some tough steel, yeah.
might be good.
You might be able to use them.
Yeah. And there ain't nothing new in here, same old stuff. Yeah, that's just very simple.
The box.
Yeah, very simple to make this pull. Just upset a piece of 1/2 by 1, and put your chisel marks in there, whatever you want to do. That's the same thing there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bigger chunk material. That's about it. I'll like to show you the fishes here now.
Okay.
And some guy in the Oklahoma club's news bulletin or newsletter was making fishes like this, but except I think on the end they were like a bottle opener. But I don't know, so I'm sure some people's made a lot of these fishes.
I think I got one of those from Iron in the Hat.
Well,
It's like a money clip, yeah.
yeah, well, I didn't, well, if you wore them this way, I didn't think they just looked right. I don't
No,
know.
yeah.
So putting this clip on there is just a whole bunch of extra work, because you got to draw all that out,
Yeah.
and lots of heats. I got to figure out something different. But what I like about them is, so you can set this on the shelf or whatever. It sits on your desk.
Oh, yeah.
It sits there, swish,
Smiles at you.
along. This one I got to open up. I've made a lot of scrap ones too. So, this one got these pins on here. You can, I don't know where to. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And here's another problem. You really need this. Well, it's kind of keyed there.
Yeah.
But it's not going to go on. Anyway, okay. I was going to make a fish that, listen to it. with a big frown on his face.
I thought it had one thing under it. And,
I'm thinking this is about it.
Okay.
But we gotta gather you up a bunch of material, and I got some stuff over here in the box for you.